Everyone, hello, and welcome to another episode of I Have a Samurai. My name is Triple J, and I'm going to be doing commentary/analysis on a requested match from this past NEC by the up-and-coming Siegfried player Link, a quote-unquote man of mystery. Is he a male? Is he a female? Based on the conversations that I had at NEC, it doesn't seem like the majority of the community is sure. I guess only time will tell. He's going to be playing against Ruthless Void, the APAT player on the right. Not really sure if you would call Ruthless Void an up-and-coming APAT player anymore. He's pretty much has come. He is currently here. He's still getting better, which is nice to see. And he even beat me at this past, Summer Jam. And like I said, this is a requested match specifically from Link, so I'm going to, for the most part, talk about this from the perspective of the Siegfried player. If there's anything that I missed that Ruthless Void should have done, it's not necessarily what the video is for, but please let me know in the comments below. And unlike what Link specifically requested, he wanted me to do the second match that he had with Ruthless Void. I'm going to be doing the first match just because I think this better illustrates some of the points that I want to get across. So right off the bat, the first thing that I always try to do at the beginning of each of my videos is talk about the character matchup, at least my opinions on it. And the working title of this video is that I don't think that Siegfried is a very good character. I think he's actually quite awful. He's very slow, he's very lumbering, there's a lot of hard answers to his stuff, and he can't really, unlike Nightmare, who is virtually the same type of character, he can't really use movement to his advantage. So he just has very bad frames and is forced to statue block in situations where other characters have other options. And especially against APAT player, or APAT, the character in general, is incredibly fast and can probably bulldog, much like any other character that does well against Siegfried. He can just bulldog his way into the situation. But hey, let's just get started. This is about as neutral of a stage as you can get. You've got high wall, low wall, breakable wall, and a ring out. So, you know, who's to say? If I was in the Siegfried's position, I would want as large of a place as possible to exploit the range difference that we have. And if I'm the APAT player, honestly, I probably want the smallest stage possible. But for the majority of it, I would say the APAT player is going to be comfortable on virtually any stage against Siegfried.
Fight. Back up.
So we're starting off here. Siegfried already battling his way. He's got the APAT to stop pressing buttons, which is pretty good. We could have finished it there. But we end up finishing it anyway. Yeah, 2A is a very good thing in that situation. Siegfried 2A, one of the few 2As that is specifically a low. So right there, I'm not sure if he botched a just guard on the second hit, or if he tried to move, but if I'm Link, I'm thinking, well, this is really kind of showing that Ruthless Void is not 100% on this matchup, perhaps he doesn't know a whole lot, and also, Ruthless Void isn't really pressing that many buttons, is he? He's kind of playing tit for tat with Siegfried, and that's the one way where Siegfried is actually going to outdamage APAT, and he catches him trying to backdash there. So Link is pretty in control of virtually this entire game so far. I'll take that trade. See, right there, that's a decision that I can't really get behind. So I like this, but I immediately lose faith the second that I see the jump kick. And this is something that I've talked to you, Link, about before, and I normally don't say absolutes like this, but I'm confident in saying that if you don't get rid of this tick of yours of doing these weird, awkward timings of wake-up attacks, you will not beat somebody like me. It just simply won't happen. This is too easy of a read. In fact, I would argue that in a tournament set, I could beat you on this read alone. All I have to do is put you in awkward wake-up situations where your itchy trigger finger is going to get the better of you, and I can just punish you with meaty attacks all day. So now if I'm in Ruthless Void's position, I try to put that in the bank for later on, and put you in wake-up situations where you're gonna do the exact same type of thing. But for now, you're still doing pretty well against Ruthless Void. The AGA is working out. There you go, and you catch a sidestep, and it's a ring out. So the things that I take from that match specifically is that Ruthless Void doesn't seem very comfortable in this matchup. He's kind of playing. He's not really being very aggressive. He's just trying to go, you know, 1-to-1 in terms of swings. He doesn't seem very comfortable with the AGA post-AGA block. You're catching him a lot with that. You're catching him with the slow low. You're catching him with a lot of stuff. So one, a lot of gimmicks might work out, and two, it's best to play at this AGA range. Even though he has stuff like 3-3B and he has tech crouching maneuvers, he doesn't seem to be using them. So, you know, try to exploit that stance as much as possible.
Why fight me?
So Ruthless Void, I believe, keeps this stage, which kind of surprises me. If I were APAT, I would want to change the stage, maybe get something a little bit better. But like I said, this is pretty neutral, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. I don't really know what that's about. He's also not punishing while rising K, so that's an interesting thought. Now he is kind of shoving it in your face. I want to go back here a little bit. He kind of shows that he's just interested in pressing buttons at this point. Right there, and then he catches your jump kick. He continues on with the string. You guess incorrectly low, and then you guess incorrectly mid. So there's not really much to take away from that, other than the fact that now he's getting a little bit more aggressive, perhaps even frustrated. And other than that, it's just, well, you made some wrong reads, and that's really all there is to it. Like I said, Siegfried doesn't really have the movement or the trickiness when he's up close, especially against a character like APAT. So unfortunately, you're just going to have to make reads like that, and guess better next time. That's really all there is to it.
Fight.
See, this is the first thing that doesn't make sense to me. So at the start of the round here, you make him block an AGA, so this is perfect, this is exactly what you want, but then you come in here, you come in close range, where he has stuff like full crouch 1K, he has 2A, you can't really react to 3-3B. What if instead of coming back here after post-AGA, you stayed back here? Then you could have actually reacted to what he was going to do, or at least force him to make a decision. You know, the one thing I can think of that Siegfried would have in this matchup is the range, and, you know, able to force Ruthless Void to commit to a certain option to get through the AGAs, especially if he's not using tech crouches properly. So, you know, why go up into his face? Is there something that I'm missing? Does Siegfried have some sort of crazy mix-up game that I'm forgetting about? I'm not really sure what the idea is there. And it's not like you need to be up close like that for grabs, so, you know. And again, right here. So that happens. You hit him with AGA, and then you run up into his face. If you had just stayed back, you have him at the edge. You could, you know, a random like 3B could have caught him. You can like just see how he reacts, or maybe even just like a 2A to clip him a little bit and just see what he does. Rather than just trying to go for a guessing game. If you're trying to go for just a straight-up guessing game, then honestly, and you're probably going to hear this a lot from me, you're probably just picking the wrong character. Siegfried's not exactly known for that type of stuff. He tries to use his plus frames not for a mix-up, but for space control. You don't really do a lot of space control, despite the fact that that's really the only thing that your character has. And you just get slammed in the face. But he used a tech crouching thing, so arguably he was thinking of another AGA was going to happen. So he sidesteps. He kind of gave it to you, but you didn't really capitalize on that. But you get a good punish. I'm not really sure what the 3B was there for. These jump kicks, man, they're just not going to pan out. He's starting to just guard your things like B6 and what's that, 1K, I guess, or no, 3K. I like the defense, and there you go. So the second that you push him away, you're able to use your AGA again, and you're catching him sidestepping over and over again. And this is one of the weaknesses that I personally know about Ruthless Void, is that the majority of the time he's just going for 3-3B or sidestep just in general into 3-3B. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, except for the fact that if I know that you're going to do it, then obviously, then it is a bad thing. All options are okay, assuming that your opponent doesn't know that you're going to go for them. Second that happens, then you become predictable, and it really doesn't matter, you know, what the odds were.
Even when severely.
So space control, at least to me, seems to be the key. You know, I like that. So this is important to note, is that despite the fact that you have clipped him with AGA over and over again, he has just shown you that he doesn't care. You put him at plus frames and he sidesteps yet again. So, you know, again, something to keep in mind. Catch him with an AGA again. He can't react to that low, which is interesting to me. Alright, he starts punishing now. And so a handful of things that I want to talk about here. One, he barely punishes that. He doesn't duck the second hit and hit you for 1.2 trillion damage. So again, we're going back to the fact that Ruthless Void does not seem to know this matchup very well. And if anything, I really wish that you were being a little bit more gimmicky. If your opponent shows that he doesn't know the matchup, then it's not like you have to feel weird about it. Yeah, it may not work on somebody else, but it's going to work on your opponent right now, and that's really all that matters. Second thing I want to talk about is that, wouldn't you know it, he sidesteps in your face again, and instead of going for something like AGA, or does even like for like a hard read, wouldn't 3A be more? I'm not actually sure. You know, 3A into whatever the move is for the follow-up. But he's sidestepping again, and you know, try not to do stuff that's so vertical and linear. Why with these kicks? I don't understand it. Nice duck but no punish. I don't understand any of these decisions from either player at this point. Alright, so he just shoves Twister in your face because you're Siegfried, and you're not using space control to your benefit. So he's starting to use Just Guard because he sees that you're doing things like B6 and 4K, or 3K, to kind of like pepper him and get him away. See, remember? Before, there was the first round that you lost, where it was just kind of unfortunate because you made a lot of bad reads, but he did show you that he was willing to continue strings, even though the first one whiffs. So you probably should have remembered that. So he's going to get pretty BB damage here, except he dropped it. And you're Siegfried, and so you can't do virtually anything about that. Second, then he gets in front of your face. It's, you know, it's going to go, even if you have amazing reads. It's not like APAT has to make a commitment to deal with the situation. Please let me know why you decided to change the stage. I'm hoping that you were looking for like an infinite stage or something like that, but at the same time, I keep harping on the fact that you don't really use space control, so maybe you're not looking for an infinite stage. In any case, if I were you, I would hate this stage. I wouldn't want this at all. And he's just shoving moves in your face. See, this is going to lose to the Just Guarding that he was doing before, though. So you kind of have to remember that this peppering of things like B6 and 3K has an expiration date. It's only going to work for a certain amount of time. So I do appreciate the grab. Grabs will obviously beat Just Guard, to a certain extent. So you've gotten him to stop pressing buttons, and wouldn't you know it, you catch him with an AGA because he's sidestepping on Wake Up again. He's still not using tech crushing moves. He's still not coming into your face when it should be obvious that you're going for an AGA. There we go. And that's just kind of unfortunate that the grab didn't have the standard Siegfried range. I don't know what that was about. I'm going to assume that was a button input error. I don't like the fact that you kind of sidestepped close to the wall here. Let me see if I can go back to that. Not really sure what the idea was, yeah, like right there. I'm not really sure what the idea was, because obviously now you're kind of in a bad way. Ruthless Void, you need to like work on your execution or play a different character, because you seem to choke on these types of things when it's like really important. Like the round should be over. I'm pretty sure you win this round anyway, but you know, one hit and Siegfried kills you there. So that's bad news. If you want to play APAT, you gotta have the execution. Oh, he gives it to you. He gives you the whiff, and you do nothing with it. I do appreciate the peppering of the grabs. I'm assuming you're noticing that he's going for Just Guard. Here you go. So you get the heavy punish that you're supposed to get. That's not a good idea against APAT, but still the punish was very good. So how do you get out of this situation? Interesting. See, this is the problem with Siegfried, is that he just doesn't have... You just have to guess these things properly. And you have to hope that Ruthless Void is going to drop his combos. So this is an interesting thing. The fact that he is actually... I noticed that you don't really use a lot of like 1K as opposed to 4K. Now, yeah, it's like a Twister punish, but for one, Ruthless Void has shown that for one, he doesn't really know the matchup very well, and for two, his execution isn't exactly what I would call on point at the moment. So... arguably, the 1K would actually be better in this situation because it's not as big of a commitment as a grab is, you know? Yeah, he's looking for it, but what if he screwed up? At least see if he actually has that kind of thing. Not to mention, he was actually, because of the jump move, he was in back turn. So, you know, even if he blocked it correctly, it's arguable that he would have messed up. So I wish I could see a little bit more 1K, because grab is just too obvious in that situation. Good punish. No, it's just... God, Siegfried is really terrible. Yeah, he's just, you know, peppering in just guards. Obviously, the 1K would work in that situation, too. You know, if he's just guarding a mid. But yeah, obviously you don't want this stage. You're going to change it post-haste. And, you know, you just want more space control. You're not really using it to your advantage. And that's not entirely true, because the few times that you are using it to your advantage, it's working out very well, and then you just seem to forget about it. And you don't use it anymore. I'm not really sure what that's about. 2A into jump A. I'm gonna bet that that's not what you wanted. Okay. Yeah, more just guards. 1K would work there. No. You're guessing low too often, too. Now, you might think that that's a really crazy read from APAT, and I've seen this frustrate certain players, like when I do it, but in all honesty, look at this life advantage that he has. What is he really going to be afraid of? Siegfried doesn't have any meter, so it's not like this potential wall combo is going to be anything. 3B on air hit, that's not really going to mean all that much. So he's just doing this simply because he has the life advantage to make these kinds of reads. It's not actually as risky as it may seem like it is. Not really something that I would get frustrated with. This is just another round where, unfortunately, you just guessed incorrectly, and that's just the way it is. Let's see your 3B. Need more movement. Unless 4K and stuff. It's just an unfortunate misspacing of AGA. Yeah, he's reading that you're ducking too much. So now he can just kind of wait. There you go. We get a good whiff punish here. And we stay back. I like that. And I like 2-2A. Pepper him with AGA. You're staying back. There goes the 2A. And you take the free punish off of his read. So, wow. You get a perfect the one time you don't go in at all. Like, can we please go back? So, you get this whiff punish. Instead of running up for like a flapjack or whatever, we're just staying back here. He's not whiff punishing appropriately. You're obviously calling these 3-3-Bs that he wants to do. He's sidestepping all day. He's using meter on lows that he should be able to react to anyway. You know, stay back. Stay at this range. Stay at this range right here. Constantly showing him that you could AGA him at any time. And forcing him to commit to like a 3-3-B or something like that, at least until he's showing you that he's going to do these tech crouches, or he's just going to like run in to you in general. So, you know, I just feel like the idea should be a little bit more space control. Catch him ducking. I'm not sure why he was ducking there. Ooh, I'm going to assume that's not what you wanted, but boy howdy, that's about as bad of a mistake as you can make at that point. That's just unfortunate. Yeah, you're pressing a lot of buttons, and there, not good. So, you know, if you want any of my advice, one, I'm not saying that Siegfried is an unviable character, but the way in which you're playing him leads me to believe that what you want is somebody who can give you frame advantage and then force a mix-up. Siegfried is not that character. Even when he has frame advantage, the frame advantage just keeps him in the game. It doesn't necessarily give him the win or whatever. It doesn't give him an opportunity because he's still really slow. I know that you're looking at Yoshimitsu. Yoshimitsu is a good character for that sort of thing. Or just learn how to play Siegfried in a different manner. Be a little bit more patient. These wake-up attacks just really aren't great. I remember talking with Party Wolf about the fact that, you know, it's really kind of on Ruthless Void to know this matchup at this point, but at the same time, it is kind of on you, what with the fact that you didn't really abuse the fact that he didn't seem to know the matchup very well. A little bit more stance stuff, even though it's not going to work on somebody like me or somebody like Party Wolf, it's obviously going to work on somebody like this, because he doesn't seem to know the matchup very well. And really, it should just be more space control, using AGA and leaning on these particular moves that he doesn't seem very comfortable with until he's forced to commit to a certain decision. But that's going to be the end of this video. And tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Link, let me know specifically what you thought of what I said. Let me know if I'm missing anything, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, thanks very much.